Hello, and thank you for watching Vatv. Today is July 20th, 2011. My name is Foong Wan, and hosting next to me today is Loc Tran. Vatv is the voice of Vietnamese Americans in the Greater Boston area. It is sponsored by VietAid, Vietnamese American Initiative for Development. The first half hour of our 1 hour weekly program is in English, and the second half will be conducted in Vietnamese.
You can follow us live every Wednesday from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. You can also go online and follow us at bnntv.org. The program also broadcasts on Sunday at 1 o'clock, on Monday at 1 o'clock, and on Tuesday at 11 a.m.
For those viewers, if you have Comcast, it will be broadcasted on Channel 9, and if you have RCN, it will be on Channel 15. And to watch any of our previous live shows, please go onto our home website, which is vietaid.org.
And for today's program, we have a very special topic, and we have here today with us the commissioner, one of the election commissioners from the Boston Election Commission Department, Ms. Helen Wong. Please welcome Ms. Helen Wong, and welcome to VNTV.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for joining us today. With the upcoming election, I'm sure everyone is excited about it. It's also a very topic that I think we need to educate our viewers, especially voters out there, regarding about the voting process. So just some questions that we want to ask you. First, if you can share with us, what does the Boston Election Department do, and what exactly do you do as a commissioner there, its history, and basically the current roles?
Okay. Well, the Boston Election Department, we're responsible for conducting all the municipal, state, and federal elections that take place within the city of Boston. And we also handle all the voter registration information, as well as the annual listing of Boston residents. That's basically the city's census. So every year we send out a team of staff to go to the different households to door knock to make sure that we have their information. And we also send out letters to all the households asking you to respond, let us know, are you still there? That way we can keep the voters' list updated and maintain the integrity of the list. I am one of the election commissioners. My role, in addition to conducting the election and recruiting poll workers, I oversee the translation and review of all the bilingual materials and ballots that we provide to the City of Boston voters. I also do a lot of the community outreach. So in the past few years, we've done significant work with high schools and community-based organizations to get more people registered to vote and to educate them on the electoral process and just encourage people to participate.
You mentioned earlier that one of the things that you have to do is to make sure that you send out letters to see if the voters are registered and still live. Boston seems to be kind of one of those the cities where they're like constant movers. As we know, there's students coming in, living for a few years, or people coming in looking for jobs and they stay temporarily and moving out. Even me myself, I've moved 3 times in the past 2 years.
Exactly.
So, how does it work with voters if they're moving constantly? How do you track them? I'm sure it's really difficult.
It is a very cumbersome and at times frustrating process because we don't put a chip on you to track you where you're going. So a lot of it does fall on the individual to update the information with our department. So say if you moved even down the street, it's your responsibility to update that information with the election department. So you can fill out a new registration form and send that into our department so that we know. Or when we're doing the annual listing process, you can update that information either on our website or send that form back to our office or call our office to let us know that you're now living down the street. So it is a pretty cumbersome process. Unfortunately, we can't track you yet, but I hope that going forward, we can get better information from all the different groups that are moving around.
So obviously there's many issues that involve around voters moving around, as well as other issues that impact the eligibility of certain voters. Exactly. What is the process in terms of registering, and what are the eligibility requirements for voter to participate in the local elections?
Yep. In order to register to vote in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, three things. One, you have to be a U.S. citizen. Two, you have to be at least 18. And three, you have to be a resident inside Massachusetts. So that's why lately we've been going to a lot of the new citizenship ceremonies at Faneuil Hall. So as people come down, the new citizens, we try to grab all of them and register them to vote. We also try to work with a lot of the community-based organizations that work with new immigrants and new citizens and try to encourage them that once you become a citizen, please remember to register to vote. It's so important. And we've been trying to go out to all the high schools and get all the seniors before they leave for college, get them registered to vote as well. So once you turn 18 and you're a U.S. citizen, all you have to do is just fill out a registration form, and I actually brought some copies. So the standard one is the English one, and it's pretty simple. You just have to fill out your name and your address, date of birth, telephone number if you want to provide that. You can pick a party enrollment if you want. If not, you can just choose unenrolled and date it and sign at the bottom. The state actually prints these forms in different languages. So here we have a Chinese one, and we have Vietnamese. We also have Spanish and Haitian Creole and Cape Verdean Creole and Russian and some other languages, I believe. So we try as much as possible to accommodate the needs of the city of Boston.
It's interesting that you mentioned student can vote. Does that mean like student from our state who go to school here and interested in participating in the local political
Yep.
process?
So even if a student's hometown is New York, but those 4 years, if he's in Massachusetts and he wants to participate in all the elections that take place in Massachusetts, then he can just register with our office. And those 4 years, he can vote in all the elections.
You mentioned briefly regarding about the details of the form, and I know that we had a prior conversation through email before this that the election or the voting system does not track ethnicity. What exactly does it track, and how come it doesn't track? 'Cause, for example, if I want to know in the town of Boston what's the percentage of African Americans voted for the last election, how come it's not part of the tracking?
At this time, the state does not have that as a question on the form. So we don't look at the form or the information that we have in our database to track ethnicity. There are other ways to track ethnicity using the U.S. Census, the big federal U.S. Census, for example, that was just conducted last year, 2010. So those numbers have been slowly rolling out, and I know a lot of community organizations and even government agencies are using those numbers in order to assess where we need to provide certain services and programs. The form right now only ask for your name, your address, your date of birth, and your party enrollment. So it's actually very simple, and I'm not sure exactly why that's not a question of ethnicity, and why it's not a question on the form. I know some states do track it, but I think because it doesn't serve, I think the form, the only purpose is just to register people. They don't really care which ethnic group you belong to, and I think that's why so far there's been no push to put that question on the form.
And it makes the form simple, so then people can just
fill
it up and get it done.
Right, because even back when the big federal census was going on, I think a lot of people didn't feel comfortable answering that question. So our department, our goal is just to get as many people registered as possible. So, we want to just keep it simple and straightforward and not controversial at all, so that people can just register and send in their information.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And it's very exciting that the upcoming elections, if you could talk about a little bit about what are the seats and in this coming up elections.
Yeah. This year, 2011, is our municipal election year. Meaning the city councilors are on the ballot this year. And in the even years, those are our state elections. So odd years are the city elections. Every 4 years, the mayor is on the ballot. This year, it's just the city councilors. And because we don't have more than 9 candidates for the at-large seat, we would not be having a preliminary election for the at-large seat. But there are 3 districts that have more than 2 candidates running for that slot, for that seat. So District 2, District 3, and District 7. Those 3 districts this year will be having a preliminary election, and that would be on September 27th, Tuesday this year. And it's very exciting, especially for the Vietnamese American community, because District 3 includes most of the neighborhoods where many Vietnamese Americans live, Fields Corner, so Ward 3, Ward 15, Ward 16 in Dorchester. So I think this election in particular should be of great interest to the community, and hopefully more members will come out and participate and vote.
Great, that sounds really exciting. I have to say, I'm ashamed of myself. I haven't been voting at all for the past years. And let's just say I did move recently, and I've never registered to vote. And now I'm getting interested. I'm more involved with the community in Boston and Dorchester. So now I would like to vote. How do I get involved, and how do I learn about my candidates?
Registering to vote is actually very easy, especially now everything's up on the internet. So one way to do it is you can go online, cityofboston.gov/elections. That's our election department's website. You can go on our website and download the national voter registration form. And again, it's very simple, just your name, your address, date of birth, very simple information. You just sign it, and then you have to send it back to the election department. We still want the paper copy and your official signature so that we can file everything in our office. We like to have everything on file. Right now, you can't register to vote online yet, and there are actually two groups arguing for and against it. So I won't go into details about that yet, but registering to vote is very easy just because these forms are all available online. All you do is just download it, print it out, and then just fill it out and mail it back to our office. And also, we've been working with many community health centers and libraries and organizations. So whenever they ask us to go out and do a registration drive, we do our best to go out there and register people. We also have all these forms available at most of the libraries and community health centers. If it's not there, if they call us up, we'll send them forms, or even as an individual, if you're interested in registering to vote, if you don't have a computer or you can't print the form out, you just call our office and we'll send you one of these hard copies, and then you just fill it out and mail it back to our office.
And then you can learn regarding about the candidates. You can learn about them online also too. Is that right?
We put out a list of all the candidates that qualify to run, and their names will be appearing on the ballot. So that's what we provide, the candidate's name and contact information. But if you want to learn more about the candidates, I would encourage you to attend some of the candidate forums that'll be going on this summer. I'm sure will be happening in Fields Corner. Read community newspapers. Go online, check out some of the candidates' websites. So I'm sure as we get closer to election, you'll see a lot of the political materials and a lot of the campaigns going out there, and candidates going out there to introduce themselves and providing information for you so that you can learn more about them.
How far in advance do people have to register to vote? And also for those who don't have access to the internet, or say my grandparents, my parents who doesn't access the internet at all, where do they access these, and who should they go? Where should they go? Say if they have some business.
Exactly. The registration deadline right now in Massachusetts is 20 days before the actual election. So for this upcoming preliminary municipal election on 27th, the deadline